still trying to type out a tweet. So you start with that while I do the tweet.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Robert just told me that to introduce him, I have to be as complimentary as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I'm I'm bad at complimenting.
Well,
I'm
you don't say my name before you introduce me. You already said my name.
Shit.
Robert said when I introduce Robert.
No, don't pull me out on this kind of shit. Here's the thing. You know when we were speaking yesterday, day before, and I asked you how do you want me to call you, and you were like Robert. I went cool. At the end of our conversation, I went, all right, great to chat to you, Rob. And I just thought to myself,
Oh.
I'm so glad
Well,
you didn't.
That's
But
interesting because, like, yeah, since I've started YouTube, like, no one calls me Rob on instinct. Like, everyone just assumes I only go by Robert, in which I used to go by both. Like,
yeah,
there's still probably like a couple people who call me Rob, but like, it's just whatever you feel like. But with YouTube, I guess since I called myself RobertIDK, there was never any confusion there.
that makes sense.
And as a result, I kind of like Robert. I feel like most young people prefer Rob, but like I think for that reason, I rather just be slightly different. I mean, it's a pretty common name, but like going more formal is almost more fun.
Weirdly enough, I used to be like being called Dave, as in David and Dave. And yeah, as I got older, David is more for me now. I don't know why. And the problem
Yeah,
is,
man. So you're like, I'm a man. I need
I'm
to
a
be
man. Dude, my beard is like terrible. I've got to have something to back me up with my manliness somehow, dude. I can't do anything about it.
What are you talking about? See, no, your beard's better than mine. First of all, I'm stuck with this really light hair. I'm not gonna, you know what, we'll do a little bit, right?
Do it, dude. Yeah, this is
It's
entertaining
like
for
it
everyone who's
covers,
watching
it
right now.
covers everywhere, right? But
Bastard.
it's only dark like here, and then I just have all these white hairs, and
You
I
have-
don't know what the heck I can do about that. But so, hey man, at least you've got the same color hair.
I have patchy like everything. I have a comb over for my beard basically.
I
So,
get what you're saying.
like I have to grow
Well,
it out long and then just brush it down. And anyway, this is the most random start to the very first episode.
well, no, I mean we're clearly staying on topic. You know, we're talking about YouTube. We're talking about Twitch, and
Presentation.
what makes more sense than the facial hair?
There's
compare.
there's definitely trends when it comes to YouTube and stuff that you have to have facial hair to be successful.
Yeah. Well, think about it. All great YouTubers at one point grew out their facial hair. Even Jenna Marbles.
I mean, it's just how it goes. I tried to follow the trend, but I know what's going to happen. By the time my beard comes in, it's gonna the actual.
Back to clean
It's,
shaven.
yeah,
Hey,
back to
even
clean shaven, dude.
Paul and Jake Paul have their facial hair now.
Oh,
I
dude.
thought I'd see the day.
Anyway, welcome to the podcast, my friend. Thank you for being my first guest. I was wondering,
Hey,
like,
thanks, man.
I was
I'm
won-
in the horrible situation right now where like I try to have a conversation or do something while also trying to type out the tweet.
yeah,
And like it ends up if I was just focusing on the tweet, I'd get it done in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
But instead, it's like a 10-minute. Do I just say live on Twitch? Live on stream?
you're asking someone who's terrible at marketing themselves as a streamer. Well, this
live
is
on stream.
Yeah.
Come join.
we'll be answering questions later, I
Right.
guess.
Happy face.
Hey, tell you what, Robert, why are you doing that?
I did it.
Oh, damn it. You're too fast. People have, for everyone who's watching right now, we are doing this as a little mini charity thing as well for Able Gamers Charity. So if you guys want to donate or anything like that, you don't have to. But if you want to, use the command charity and it'll send you a link to everything else like that. And yeah, just wanted to do something while me and Robert talk about whatever comes to our mind, really, because that's the main thing. There's no structure to this. We're just chilling, and that's about it. I mean,
Heck yeah. So we're doing like 3 hours, like Joe Rogan, right?
dude, I don't know if we can do 3 hours, but we'll try.
No, I can't do 3
so
hours.
2 hours, like max. I usually aim for 2 hours. Like back when I did my original podcast, yeah, it was like 2 hours, and because after 2 hours, it just goes to like a bit of a. So what do you want to talk about now? Instead of just going, yeah, 2 hours, it's done. And
No, dude, I promise you won't have that issue with me. If there's one thing I can do is never stop talking. So
I
there's
think
no sure.
I think that's the same thing with me though, dude. Like as a streamer, just being able to talk to yourself and yourself making videos and everything, the ability to just talk nonsense is an actual skill. Like
Yeah, well, I think that's what makes certain people like me and certain people not like me, you know? Like the average person, like I'll talk too much and they'll be like, whoa, this dude's weird. But the people who like, understand, like, I think it's what sets me apart, you know? So there's a yin and a yang to it.
I think it all depends on the topic you're talking about as well, though. Like if
Oh,
we're not going to do it here
another
because
topic.
me and you got along quite quickly. Obviously, it was first with someone tagged you saying that I looked like you, and then you complimented me, and then you followed me, and I was like, hey, thanks for following all that.
What was the compliment? Like you were better looking than me or
Something like that. It was like it was that actually, yeah, it was something like that. And
oh, how nice.
you are a very nice person. It was very nice to
I go through my waves, man.
I just caught you on a good wave, right?
I guess so.
That's right.
No, honestly, no, to be fair though, I honestly feel like I'm more consistently nice online now. I think now, like it used to be pretty like, sometimes I'm in a bad mood online, sometimes I'm in a good mood online. Not that I like take it out on people or anything like
Sure.
that. But I will say, I think since like mediating my social media time and like not doing it as much, I think I'm more consistently like pleasant, in a pleasant mood.
Yeah.
So
Well, like you said earlier, I mean, you've been able to separate your YouTube community with your social media, and I think that's really fucking key for like mentally.
yeah, no, it wasn't my goal at all, but it kind of just happened. And at first, I'm sorry, guys. I know I seem like a weird.
You're just
picture, like,
stretching, just getting a good position.
on a chair. I don't let my legs hang down. I just keep them up. I'm like a little baby. It's probably great for my spine.
It's
Anyways,
wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, no, it kind of happened accidentally, right? Like the audience that so I started my channel in like 2015 was when I started posting regularly. Then mid 2018, I was like, what the heck am I doing? And I stopped posting for like a year and a half. And this year, starting beginning of 2020, I've come back. Now, the audience that I have now is totally different than the audience I had before, just in terms of the people themselves and
Sure.
like who YouTube's recommending my stuff to. And as a result, I now have a very large audience watching my stuff, and like most of the people who watched me before that followed me on social media, they're still there, but they don't watch my stuff anymore. So it's like a weird two things where they don't intersect at all. And at first I was like, okay, this kind of sucks. Like I don't have like a big social media following like I used to, not as people see the random things I have to say. But yeah, no, I have realized honestly, it's pretty awesome. Like I used to have this mentality of like, with success, I wanted like fame that came with it, or
Yeah.
like notoriety, or like being an influential figure to some extent, like just having a lot of people care about the random things I have to say. But like, I guess the result of just how the internet's been this year, super toxic, super all over the place, walking on eggshells, you have to say the right thing.
Yeah.
I've kind of realized like the value of not having that.
Yeah.
And so what at first bothered me, the decline in social media presence, is now like I'm totally down for it. Like, because I feel like now I can do my job, I can make my videos and do them how I want to do them, and there's no obligation beside from that. It's like, if you like my stuff and you enjoy watching it, absolutely come on board. If you don't watch them. But like, there's no big, Robert IDK standard that I need to uphold online or something like that. I don't need to talk about every little thing that's going on in the world. And yeah, it's like, I don't know. I feel like for a lot of people, like it's just not necessary to have that kind of pressure put on you, So I'm happy to be out of that.
Do you feel like you used to have that so that when you were, before obviously you had your break, and I'd love to talk to you about that break and all that, but before that you felt like you had to be constantly present on social media and being like, I've got to say something, because if I don't, people might forget about me, and all those kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, like self-conscious issues, I don't know.
Yeah, oh, for sure, for sure. I think a lot of YouTubers will talk about this. I mean, a lot of the more genuine YouTubers will talk about this. There are times when it's like you have to be in a good mood online, or you have to be in a good mood in videos or whatever, even no matter what kind of day you're actually having. So that was kind of my situation, where like I wouldn't always be in a good mood, but like I'd have to like put on a good face online. Um, and it's like, yeah, this is a thing I do social media, I do Twitter, I do Instagram, and I need to be there, I need to be posting stuff, and like, yeah, I mean, I don't think I even need to explain to anyone how that's not healthy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, now my mentality is like, if I don't feel like posting, I mean, I'm not gonna post. I'll block my Twitter and my Instagram. I don't need to be on it. It's better that way. And yeah, so I did feel that pressure before, of like having to kind of uphold that. And I mean, yeah,
Well,
it just adds a bit of a weight that humans don't need to bear.
I think it's really important though, dude. Like you say that it's obvious to people who are listening and all that kind of stuff, but or watching as well. But sometimes we have to hear it, and it might not just be from themselves, but from someone else, someone maybe they look forward to, or look up to. Sorry, they need that kind of message, because I whenever I teach kids like martial arts and stuff, I always go for, it sounds like I'm so up my arse, because I call it like the superhero complex, where the parents will say something to the kid, but it won't make a damn difference, and then I'll say the exact same thing to the kid. Exactly, and I feel like it's not the parents' fault at all. It's just the fact that the kids wash it out, and when when you're saying that kind of stuff, there might be people in this chat who are going, "That's exactly what I needed to hear,"
Right.
And
cool.
I know, pressure and all that.
I think most people know that social media can be very harmful.
Yeah.
And yeah, people will hear it, but it's like, I feel like most people don't really take the time to take that seriously. And I think it's an especially weird thing, because social media influencers and people online, the last thing that they want to do is tell people to go online less, because then it results in them getting less support. So no one talks about how harmful it can be, right? It's like a, like, I don't have a great example, but say like if Coca-Cola was like, hey, drink Coca-Cola, hey, but don't drink too much because this is not healthy for you.
Mm-hmm.
So like only drink it now and then. They're never gonna do that. And it's the same thing with like, yeah, YouTubers and people like that aren't gonna tell you, hey, like, don't be on social media.
Don't watch YouTube.
Or watch YouTube like too long, because it will have a negative effect. There is a point where it's bad for you. And I think that it's like we have this like common knowledge that yes, it's not healthy, but we don't really take it seriously. And that's not to say it's all bad, or social media is all bad. Like, absolutely not. But like, yeah, I think people need to make sure they're balancing things like that, And I have a very big problem with balance myself.
Sure.
It probably comes with the ADD and the perfectionism and all that, but like, I'm either all in on something or I'm not. So even like a couple of weeks ago, like I was going through a phase of playing a lot of video games, and it's either I'm playing for like 4 hours every day, or I have to not play at all. And that's what I'm at now. I'm very bad at in between. And I think a lot of people probably have a similar issue.
I'm there. I'm absolutely there, dude. Like, I mean, I'm a very good starter of things, but I'm not a very good finish. So I'll be playing The Last of Us 2. I'll be playing Ghost of Tsushima. And I've played an hour, 2 hours. Really love it. Actually love the game. And that's it. I just stop. And I don't know why. It's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm done now. It's good. I've played the game.
No, I was literally talking to a friend about this last night. It's like, Yeah, I remember because I just played through all the Uncharted games and both Last of Us games, right? And so I loved the Uncharted games, and I hadn't really played them, but I had the third one on PS3, and I had picked it up once and played for like 2 hours, loved it, but never played it again. And
Mm,
like upon playing it now, it's like, why didn't I finish it?
yeah.
Like that was so much fun. Why didn't I just continue? And it's a weird thing, and I think that's one thing that about ADD that I think a lot of people don't know about or don't realize or understand is that it's not just like struggling to do things that you don't want to do, it's struggling to do things you want to do, and I think that's where it can get really depressing, you know. And so that's why, yeah, for me, like, it wasn't until I got an actual blocker on my social media that I was able to stop constantly looking at it, because it's like that quick fix of refreshing that is
Jesus.
easier to get to
Yeah.
than turning on a video game. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I totally get you. That like little dopamine hit what you get when you just look at Twitter and see something funny or
yeah,
see something
yeah, it's
what's engaging. Yeah,
compared to having to go over to the other room, turn a thing on, and then wait 10 minutes. Like, your brain doesn't differentiate that, you know?
it just seeks the pleasure in a sense. It just seeks that
Yep.
little hit and that's it. God, it's kind of crazy when you talk about ADD, and I never saw it like that with the whole how you explain it was so good regarding it's not about not wanting to do things what you don't want to do. It's not wanting to do the things that you do want to do. Like in my head,
Yeah,
I'm going,
right.
oh shit, of course. Like it makes total sense, but
Yeah, well, it's both. It's not wanting to do anything that takes, any level of brain power to get into. Um, and it's yeah, no, it is a weird thing like that. Um, and yeah, so I guess so for me, I am in the subsection of people who can really be harmed by social media, or it can really like, have a very negative effect.
yeah, sure.
So I don't like to, I'm not trying to say that like everyone who goes on social media for a long time is like suffering or like worsening their mental health the way it would for me.
Mm.
So I don't mean to like say it like that, but there are for people who are like me or suffer similarly to the way that I do, it's like, yeah, it's the quick fix of social media. Like, it's designed to be addictive. It's designed to, give you that immediate pleasure. Though things like that can be really dangerous. So like people like that need to be really careful, you know?
I've definitely caught myself in that habit of, like you just said, the constant. You look at Twitter, scroll through, you refresh, okay, cool,
And then
done,
refresh
and
again.
then refresh again because you think something's gonna happen. And it's. I remember
Yeah.
myself like follow. This is when I like try to figure out how to grow my channel and stuff. So I followed a shit ton of people because I hopefully it'll follow me back and all that kind of
Yeah.
nonsense. And I went for a huge like unfollowing on Twitter. So like I unfollowed people what I wasn't supposed to unfollow anyway, and I dropped it down to like a few hundred, and what happened was really weird because the refreshing didn't give me that dopamine kick anymore because it wasn't refresh
Oh,
something
you
new.
didn't have as much stuff to
Yeah,
see?
yeah, and it made me go,
Right.
oh, and I had to put it. I still do it. I'm still definitely addicted to my phone, but
Yeah.
just being able to
Well,
go, and then put it to the side is so hard but important.
yeah. Well, and Twitter, and I don't want to talk too much about like social media just constantly, because I don't want to just like act like a, one of those people
An
who comes
activist
into your school and gives you an assembly about like the dangers of
starts
whatever.
doing a really bad rap about
Yeah,
it.
no, so this is the last thing I'll say about the whole thing. But yeah, no, Twitter had a change in the last few years designed to give you that. So even if you're not following enough people, it's like still giving you more stuff. It's when it used to be on Twitter, you only saw things from the people you followed and the things that they retweeted directly. If it wasn't that, it wasn't on your main feed. So you didn't get to see like this person liked this or this person followed this.
Yeah.
Twitter made that change a few years ago. So now you have to see that, and it gives you more stuff to refresh. And honestly, man, honestly, it was, as far as people's mental health, it's the worst change
Yeah.
that a social media platform has ever made, because people don't get to choose what they see. And so they have, if someone just, wants to be in like their safe little bubble of like people who only post positive things, they can't anymore, because those people will follow someone who liked something that's like super negative or super like you don't want to see it, and it'll, make you feel bad. That was never a problem until they made that change. There's no way to turn that feature off. They should have a way for you to turn that feature off, but it doesn't benefit them because that would make people use Twitter less.
It's
So,
money, dude. Like, money drives
yeah, I think it's
everything.
completely messed up. And I
Yeah.
think that feature alone, that change they made a couple years ago, has contributed so much to like people's negative mental health spaces.
I could not agree more, dude. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of times I've had to, like, not about them liking, because people can like whatever they want, but I don't want to, like you just said, I don't want to see it. So sometimes people will go on like a liking tear, so your timeline gets just filled with it, and you're like, I don't want to see this. So you end up having to mute them, or not block them, but
exactly. I've had to mute friends of mine because like they're liking porn or something, and it's showing up on main feed as I'm scrolling. It's like, dude, I don't need.
I just want to look at memes, and now it's just an ass that's jiggling. It's like, oh, great, cool. It's hard.
That's why I like Twitter. I think a lot of people. I feel like most Twitter users also use Instagram, but a lot of Instagram users don't also use Twitter, because I think a lot of people do see that, and like on Instagram you can really decide, okay, I only want to see this and I don't need the other stuff, whereas Twitter forces it on you. And for someone like me, like that just became, frustrating, and I realized that like that change alone is like, it's very dangerous, it puts people up against each other who wouldn't even have to see each other or see each other's tweets or opinions.
I get that.
If you want to go on Twitter to relax,
it's not a relaxing play. It's totally not.
Anyway, that's the last thing I want to say about all that,
Well, I think what you said was important, dude. So like, kudos for you for actually going off on one. Like, it's good to speak about that kind of stuff. I think people need to hear it. And
well, I guess I mean, for anyone who follows me on Twitter watching, I guess that would probably, I mean, it is kind of context for where I'm at in terms of, I used to post all the time, but now I don't. I just kind of stick to YouTube,
I mean, it's kind of like YouTube's not your safe place, but you've got that detachment from it all. Like, you don't need Twitter to feed your YouTube, and vice versa. Like, your YouTube is its own thing, so you don't feel forced to have to go to Twitter to promote your stuff. It just happens in the YouTube universe.
Well, I think I think it's important to, if you're doing it as a career or something like that, you need to kind of realize what brings you the most happiness, the most success, whatever gives you the most, and focus on that. Because if I'm spending half my time on YouTube and half my time on social media, well, YouTube is my career. I don't make money off of social media. I don't further anything in my life from that. So it's like, it makes way more sense to like put that time just back into YouTube. And now, I mean, I'm posting more often than I ever have, as a result. And that's why people follow me in the first place, is because of my videos, right? So I feel like I'm making a lot more people happy by focusing on that.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, dude. You've desynced, by the way, for some reason. Your voice and video have completely gone. It's all like out of sync. I don't know if you heard me just go.
Really?
Oh no. If you want to, like, you can disconnect, reconnect, and then we can do like that. Chat just went, oh no. So
you want to call me back?
Yeah, you can call me back. I'll do I don't know what I want to do, actually. I'll do it just me while you jump back in if you want. Yeah, cool. Da 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 da. I think we're good.
Hello?
There we go.
Good?
Yeah, we're good.
How long was it messed up?
Oh, like 10 seconds. So
okay,
you didn't hear it because you were talking. I literally went, oh no. Like, I actually said it. So it's quite funny. But you're all good. The thing is, so like, regarding YouTube, like, your YouTube's blew up. Like, obviously we spoke about this beforehand, that it's slowed down a tiny bit when it comes to its growth, but
it complete. Oh, you mean like very recently? Yeah.
And obviously before that too.
Yeah, no, my stuff's going in waves right now. Like from January is when I came back, right? And at that point there was no momentum and it was a slow build to get back to where I was before. Then it just completely jumped past it that point. Then it went back down and then it completely jumped past it and then it went back down. So it's weird. You know, things go in waves, but you know.
How did it feel when you hit your big, well, your next big milestone? Like,
Yeah, no, I was freaking out,
does
man.
it feel any different? Because that's the thing when it comes to these giant numbers. You know, what are you on now? I keep thinking it's like
Like 600K. I just hit.
that's that's. I'm just trying to picture like 600,000 people, and I can't do it.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I think it's almost better not to think
Yeah.
about it like that, you know?
Yeah.
One of those things that just puts even more pressure on you. I mean, a lot of crazy people don't even care, and they're just like, yeah, give me my 10 million people, not really appreciating how crazy that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, to a point, you kind of need that. You kind of need to not overthink it because it's like, then it just it feels like so much pressure. But yeah, yeah, man. So yeah, things have really picked up recently, and pretty cool, man.
Do you
No
get
complaints.
used to hitting the milestones? So like you just hit 600,000, you had 500,000, 400,000. Like, does the feeling of hitting those goals change at all, or is it the same feeling
Yeah.
each
Oh, for
time?
sure. For sure. Yeah. No, like I'm definitely not like as excited about 600K as I was about 100K. Right.
Yeah.
Like there's the big ones. I feel like naturally, like without even thinking about it, it's like the big numbers, like exactly a million, and then exactly 5 million, or exactly 1,000, 10,000, like those like more significant milestones, if it makes sense. They naturally will feel more significant than like
Mm.
11,000, 12,000. Just because it's like I think your brain kind of realizes like, okay, we shouldn't freak out at every single incremental.
It gets a bit tiresome. Like, oh yeah, we hit
Yeah.
500. Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, so 500K was really cool. Um, I think what actually made me freak out a little bit less is okay. Well, no, a big part of it was because I had taken like a year off, and so
Mm.
I was at 400K for like 2 years. And so by the time I hit 500K, like to me, it was almost like, okay. I mean, I should have I should have been working and hit this a while ago because if I had just stayed consistent. So but yeah, I think for me, like when I hit 10K and then when I hit 100K, it was both like at the beginning of like a big jump of momentum.
Hmm.
So it was super exciting. I remember when I hit 100K, I like had a live stream right after. I was like just so happy, just
Yeah.
freaking out. Um and yeah. So I mean, it's been so long now, and also I I've worked with a lot of YouTubers who have like 5 million, 7 million subscribers, and I've like worked on their channels and whatnot. So like the reality of that isn't like, it doesn't feel foreign to me, if that makes
I
sense.
get you. Yeah.
But obviously, like seeing that level of love and attention put on something that only I make is obviously a totally different thing, you know?
I was thinking, obviously, for 500, well, the 500,000 part, that must have had a bit of significance because, like you just said, because there was such a break between your 400 and
Yeah.
500.
It was like it was significant in that like it felt like, okay, I am back.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually back.
That must have felt
And I'm
good
not
though,
like
dude.
planning.
Like,
Yeah, no, it was very significant for that reason. But I think I think the most successful YouTubers don't overthink it because
mm,
it you have to just keep going. I think one of my issues for a long time was that back in the day, every single video I made was like my big creative project, my big like art project almost. Like, oh, let's do a diss track about pineapple on pizza this week. Oh, let's do a fan fiction skit the next week. Oh, let's do a reaction video to it. It was always different, right? And I treated every single video like it was my baby, right? So I would spend like a whole week on it, post it, and then I just watch it for a few days, just obsessing over it, like, oh, how's it doing? How's it doing? Looking at it now, I can't believe how much of a toxic mindset I was
yeah.
in that regard, where just so hyper focused on it, and like if it didn't do well, oh, like I'm unhappy for a couple days. But the most successful YouTubers do not overthink any of that. When you post a video, you move on to the next one, and that's what I do now. Is like I post it on YouTube, I don't watch it again unless it's like a month or two later, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a fun video, let's watch it. But like I think it's the same thing with milestones, where like if you get too caught up in it, you don't do what you need to do to keep making progress.
Yeah, it becomes all about numbers instead of what you're actually creating.
Yeah,
Totally get that.
So I mean, I think a big mantra of mine is just, don't overthink things, which it sounds so easy on paper. You can't just tell someone, hey, stop overthinking.
Thanks a lot. I'll see you later. And that's it.
Yeah. Brain, just like pause real quick. It's obviously not that simple, but I mean, it's something that I try to be mindful of now. And I think also one thing that's probably helped is now that I work on Dope or Nope as their editor, we've had a schedule of 2 videos a week every week for the last 2 years that I've been there. And so you can't just stop and smell the roses. You have to move on to the next one, or else you miss the deadline, right?
Yeah, I get that.
And that's what I struggled with myself when I was just doing my own thing by myself. I couldn't manage myself because there was no one to get mad at me if I didn't post. There's no one to like hold me accountable because I couldn't do it for myself. But when I worked for someone else, I could do it.
I think I can relate to that with not with content or anything like that, but when I'm like teaching my own classes, because it's my business. So like you said, you have no one who will kick you up the arse for getting up like too late. You have no one who's gonna go, all right, make sure you go out getting new students in.
Parents, but yeah.
my parents, like, I'm one of the lucky ones where my parents have been amazing all the way through my childhood, all the way to now. I have literally no complaints about my parents. They've always been supportive.
I'm talking about your students' parents.
Oh right, yeah.
If you don't show up to a practice, that's a problem.
Oh, I always show up. I've never gone, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. Like I obviously turn up, but it's more like growing of the schools is the main thing. Like if people quit, because people do quit, it's just how it goes. Like with YouTube communities and streamers, people do leave, and that's just the reality what we face. But it's then my responsibility to keep on top of that. So if people do leave, it's like I'm not losing, I'm still gaining. And it's one of those where I sometimes struggle with the self-discipline side of things, and that's kind of ironic considering I do martial arts. Like self-discipline is one of the big things, but it's an interesting one for me.
Kind of discipline though, man. It's like I feel like with martial arts, isn't it somewhat more of like an emotional discipline, and like with the honor and like the form and all that stuff, as opposed to like you have to do it for this long every day?
If you it depends on what school you're going to, if I'm honest, dude. Like some people will be obsessed with just the art and doing the art, and that's it. But I remember, I can't remember who spoke to me about this, but when someone spoke to me about martial arts, they have to, and I remember it was only a few years ago, but we said break it down. It's martial, which is structured, do your thing, discipline, everything like that, and then it's art, which is free flow, not really worrying about things. And I remember just sitting there going, fuck yeah, it's both. You gotta have the relaxation part of it, you gotta have the structure part of it. So if you
never thought about it that way.
Yeah, it's super weird. It made me go, it changed my mind as an instructor. Like I've always considered myself a good coach, a good mentor for the kids, but when that happened, I went through a phase where I just wanted everyone to like get the moves and like learn this, learn that, learn that, learn that. But then I was like, oh shit, but that's just the martial. I'm forgetting half of the whole lesson, if you would, of like, yeah, you're gonna mess up, try again. How are you doing emotionally through these moments? It's one of those things where I look back and go, shit, it took me a long time just for that one little sentence someone just said, think about it in 2 ways, and it completely changed how I approach teaching. It's awesome.
It's almost frustrating when you like have like that eureka moment of something you've always known.
Yeah, deep down inside you sort of go, it's a bugger. It really is. I mean, I want to go into like your break a tiny bit, and I want to start with the end of your break first. So
Okay.
my question was, what made you want to come back? Because was it always a plan of coming back, or was it a case of you breaking? But
Yeah, so I mean the plan wasn't to have like a long-term break. I think when I first did it, I was like, it'll be about a month or so.
yeah.
It happened at the same time that I got my job for Dope or Nope. I was doing it at the same time because my issue was like, yeah, like I'm just going through a lot of, 2018 was a rough year for me.
Mm.
And it was a year where I was kind of very alone, and very alone in the sense of YouTube. Like most of my YouTube friends had either moved on or, you know, whatever. And so it that kind of boiled up, and I realized like, man, I'd like to work with other people again. Like just being by myself and working for myself, like this isn't bringing me any fulfillment. So I hit up, my friend Matthias, who, runs the channel,
Mm-hmm.
and asked for his advice. And I kind of came to the realization that, like, yeah, even if I'm not doing my own stuff, I'd probably be happier just working with other people and like being a part of something. And so, anyways, long-winded answer, but my goal was to do both, right? Which I am now,
Yeah, yeah,
actually,
yeah.
but my goal was to do both, but I didn't take into account how much editing Dope or Nope videos would mentally drain me in terms of just like how much brain power I've got left. Editing is like for me the most draining thing.
I'm so glad you said that, dude. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen you when you were having your comeback and you were posting about your editing and stuff. I remember just looking at the amount of stuff you do. I just sat there and went, I could not do that. I
I
tried.
live in Adobe Premiere, dude. That is the reality I live in. I don't live on planet Earth. I live in Premiere.
Damn.
And I want a Adobe Premiere shirt. I've been on the Adobe store and I've been on Amazon, and I can't find just a shirt with the Premiere logo, because it's like, you gotta rep your home, you know.
If anyone in chat knows where to find one.
Yeah,
Sure.
no, don't just send me one or buy me one without I will buy my own shirt, but
Point you in the right direction,
if
basically.
you can tell me where they exist. Yeah. That would be nice. But anyways, yeah, no, it's crazy. And so yeah, I didn't have the brain power to do both. And so I think there's a blessing and a curse to these things, where that forced me over the last year to like figure out how to maximize my, well, I guess my mental health, but also
Sure.
my mental capacity. Like one thing for me last year, like I guess the biggest thing that kind of set the ball rolling again was I realized that the medication I was on wasn't the right fit for me. And so I went through that whole process, talking to therapists,
Sure.
and, getting that sorted out. And if I hadn't had that struggle, I wouldn't have done that. And if I hadn't have done that, then I may not be back right now. And I genuinely have no idea where I'd be. So as lame as it sounds, surely there's a lot of things I would have liked to do differently or done ahead of time. But as lame as it sounds, I do feel like all of that, rough stuff had to happen to get me to the point that I'm at now. Because now that I'm back on YouTube, like my mental health regarding YouTube is so much better than it was before I took my break. I'm so much happier doing it. Like when I turn on the camera, I never have to force myself to smile.
That's amazing, dude. That's so good.
I think honestly that's the bottom line. That's like the most important thing. That I think, if anyone ever, has a complaint of like, oh, I wish he did this still, I wish blah, 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 oh, I don't like this as much anymore. What you can never, ever take away is that, now I am like truly happy to be doing it. And I have a genuine smile every time I film.
I see a lot of people in all different kind of communities on Twitter and just stuff like that, where they are I don't know if they're complaining. I don't think it's complaining. It's more like like you just said, I wish they did this again, or I wish they were like that. And it always nags me personally because I'm like, but they're a different person now. Like they're older, they're wiser, maybe. But
Yeah. Give me an example. Do you have any? Not, I mean,
I
if you don't mention
I'm
specific
not gonna. No, I'm not gonna mention it right now. But
Okay.
just as a sentence, it's just one of those things where I always just consider the reason why they've probably changed is for their own mental health, like because
Yeah.
they weren't happy with what they were doing right here, so they had to make a change, and it might disrupt a bit, it might upset the flow of the community, but it's for their own benefit. And in the end, a content creator has to be selfish because if they're not selfish, then they're not happy doing the things they want to do. And I think
Yeah.
that shift is so important. And I think learning how to be, as a viewer, learning how to be empathetic to people who are changing for their own best interests. I think that's important. And like you said, if you didn't make those changes for that, if you didn't go for that rough time, would you be here? Would you be doing something else? Who
Yeah.
goddamn knows?
Yeah. I have just given up on YouTube as a whole because I
Yeah.
wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. Yeah. Yeah, no, if someone changes what they do and it's for, say they do something, they stop doing the thing that made them popular and they are not getting as much success from it. And it's like, why don't they switch back to that? Well, obviously they don't want to be less
Yeah.
successful. They're making that change because yeah, they think it's better for them. So yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff online. I know it can be if someone changes and you don't like it. I know it can be, rough and you don't want to experience that, but it's like there's so much other stuff to check out, just like you just got to kind of figure out what you like and, people
I,
need to do what makes them happy.
I remember Jacksepticeye mentioned this. I might have been on Tumblr before Tumblr went to shit because meh. But he spoke about this, that he's definitely changed and that's it. But like you just said, there are plenty of people who do the old stuff, what the things what I used to do, and they're probably doing it way better than me now. So just go check them out. Like I'm gonna do my thing, you guys can do your thing. And I remember sitting there reading it, and I was just like, good for fucking you for like going, no, this is what I'm doing, guys. Unfortunately, it's not that I don't care, but I care more about myself right now at this point in time, and I think that's so important. I really do, and kudos to anyone who's able to do that kind of stuff because
Yeah.
man, I've seen so many people get into, let's say, Fortnite videos when views for Fortnite videos on YouTube just blew up. Like you have a one giant video what caught hundreds of thousands, millions of views, and then you just go, oh, I've got to stick to this now. I've got to find constant content with one thing, and
Yeah.
I can't imagine the struggle that would be mentally to just constantly have to come up with something with the same thing. Like I can't do it myself.
That would completely depend on the person, of
True.
course. I feel like a huge percentage of YouTubers are totally happy just following the money.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's I think it's like the less creative people, right? The people who don't feel like they have to scratch that creative itch. But again, there's a balance to everything, right? I have had to stop doing, I think I've had to simplify my channel in a way. I had to stop being so creative. I had to stop doing something different every time, Do I think it would be really cool to like do a random, rap song for my next video and then go back to the next thing or do something, something completely different and completely unique?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. I like doing that. But if doing that and mixing everything up is the difference between my channel just completely staying stagnant forever and me having the success that I think I'm capable of getting, that really is what's going to make me happier. I'm happier being able to chase success and make progress in my life, in my career,
Mm-hmm.
because that can lead itself to so many other things. If I follow the one thing and am successful off of that, then eventually I have the freedom to do the other things that I want to do.
You built a good base, basically. You built a
Yeah,
good base
yeah,
to
and I
go
think
off
a
and
lot of
branch
people are
off.
like that. I think Markiplier is a good example of that. And that's not to say he ever stopped doing what he's always done his like gaming, his horror gameplay, all that stuff. But he stuck with it for long enough to now when he wants to take on a big creative project like a heist with Markiplier or like
Yeah.
a live tour or whatever, he can go and do that now because he, did what he had to do to get to that point, and now he has the freedom.
It's the initial grind that people need to like get
Yeah,
through.
exactly. And it is a bit of a shame that YouTube has to be that way. But I can't really blame the YouTube algorithm because like they have to have one system that works for an entire platform of millions of people.
Yeah.
And the only way that makes sense, you have to, YouTube essentially puts its trust in a creator and then it will promote their stuff. And if you are doing completely different things all the time, then YouTube can't put that trust in your channel, and so they aren't going to push it out,
That makes sense. Yeah, that totally makes sense. It's
and coming to terms with that is literally the biggest cause of my success now. If I hadn't swallowed my pride and accepted that and been cool with it, yeah, I'd probably still be where I was, a couple years ago,
I think that's a big thing. I think that's a big thing as a streamer myself. What I'm trying to deal with is like finding the right thing to do. I've always wanted to do this podcast and I've always wanted to do it live. That was a goal of mine and like is a passion of mine to do it. But regarding all my other streams, I'm like, what am I doing? Am I figuring this out? It gets really stressful. I sometimes get bogged down by it because it's like, oh, I wanted to do this. I'm really passionate about it, but it didn't work out. And it's like, how often have I got to get through that kind of emotional like pull down before something works? Right now, I'm actually just loving Fall Guys, if I'm being honest, because people love watching it. Apparently, like people like it's nice when it's you got the a game what you love to play. People love to watch it, and they're actually interactive with it too. Like, it's crazy, but I don't know. It's just find that right balance. It is all about balance in the end. If we're going to be talking about anything today, it's find that balance. And I just want to. What was I going to say to you? We were speaking about the end of your break. What did you do in the beginning of it? So when you took your break, and you can talk about why if you want to. It's totally up to you. But what were you doing in between? Did you have a plan at all? Was it just a case of just stopping everything for a second and just being with yourself, or?
I mean, unfortunately, it by no means was I like stopping everything because as soon as I got the job, I was starting to put about 30 to 35 hours into each Dope or Note video, and I a week. I was working harder than I ever had, and so there was no time to think about any of it or like even think about being able to do RobertIDK as well. In fact, over time, we've had to figure out, or I've had to figure out how to spend less time on Dope or Note videos. If you go back to around the first few months when I was on Dope or Note, if you look at videos on Dope or Note from December 2018 to March 2019, around that time, the level of editing, the amount of editing and the number of edits and all that, crazy. It's a lot more than it is now. And that doesn't mean the videos are edited more poorly, but I just jam-packed every second of that video. To the point where it was like, even though the videos were already cut for me, it would be about 1 hour of work for a minute of Dope or Note, and they're 24-minute videos, right? So all that time is just adding things. Like the cameras are already there, switching up. It's already a fine video, but anyways.
You go perfectionist mode. Like it could be something else. It could be something else. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of getting off topic here, but yeah, that was a crazy commitment right out of the gate. And so there was no time to like step back and decompress. It was kind of just like oh yeah, this is what I'm doing now. And there were pros and cons where I didn't feel too bad about it because at that point my channel was just very slowly declining, and I didn't see a solution at that point. I did not see how I was gonna get out of that and fix that.
Yeah.
So it didn't, bother me that much. I mean, it bothered me that it all happened, that I had to, leave, but I didn't feel like, oh, because I'm working so hard on this, I'm missing out on something else,
Yeah. I get that. I get that. I mean, like you just said about the timings and all that kind of stuff. Like the amount of effort what gets just put into one single video. I was watching your most recent video on your channel because I wanted to do a little bit of research, but I just
it, today.
Not today. You were reacting to it might have been today. It was the let me think. Unexpected videos. Okay. I think that's the one. Yeah. But I remember just watching, and it was really funny. I actually laughed and stuff. But my biggest thing was, holy fuck, the editing. Just edit. Like this is here. Zoom in here. Like I just looked and went. Yeah. Well, I had to reflect on what I used to do for editing, and it was like a slow pan, maybe a cut, and that's it. And I'm just watching your video going, bastard, it's so good.
Yeah, well, that's just the culmination of I've been editing since I was 12 years old, and then my perfectionist mindset of like having to constantly improve and do better. And that's one of the things that I needed to figure out for myself in order to come back and be mentally healthy, because I'm putting too much time into every video. Now, like, if a video isn't perfect, that's okay. Like, I will get like a little bothered, you know, in the back of my head, but like, you can't obsess over it, right? So yeah, even now, like, there's plenty of edits, but there was even more before. Like, there was considerably more before, and I've had to tone it down. Now, the other huge difference is now I have someone else editing with me. I have someone who does the pre-cut, as we call it, and like, they essentially make a video to normal video standards, but then there's just there aren't like the audio effects, the music, the text pop-ups, the memes, and the images, effects, all that stuff. So the hard part that people with ADD struggle with, which is cutting, for me, I thankfully am not doing that anymore, and that's helped me regain so much sanity.
Yeah.
And if that was not happening, there's no way I could post 3 videos a week. You know?
It's a behemoth task, dude. Like 30 hours, just thinking like 30 hours of video, and you just don't think about it. And we discussed this before, didn't we? When we first called about streamers versus YouTubers and what's harder, who works harder, and we were discussing like there's no harder or lazy or whatever it is. Everyone works just as hard as each other. It's just different types of.
It's a very different thing.
Completely, and for me, I think. It's the reason why I got into streaming was because I did not like editing. Like, if editing wasn't an issue for me, I'd probably be still doing YouTube videos and stuff. But for me, Twitch is just more convenient for me personally, because the video's up, it's done, and that's it. And I kind of like that with podcasts. Like, it's just one big thing, and then we're done. Like,
I love that, man. I was doing a podcast for a little bit, and I absolutely loved it. But yeah, I think if I hadn't gotten into editing when I was 12, I would not have been able to pick it up as an adult, you know?
Yeah.
Because it is like just sitting down and doing homework for hours. You know? It's forcing yourself to continue focusing and continue working. And yeah, so that's why, like, cutting up a video, even now, like, I typically don't ever have to cut up a video, but when I do, it takes me like 4 times as long as like the average editor, because that's just something that it's more like kind of grunt work. And like it takes just as much skill, but like it takes more just sustained focus, and like you don't get to do something like creative every 5 seconds. So for me, yeah, that's rough. And if it wasn't a necessary part of the process, like I wouldn't have been doing it before. And so yeah, the only way that the only reason I'm editing now and I'm able to do it now is because when I was 12 years old, the thing I got more joy than anything in doing was like taking a SpongeBob episode and like making them say the F word, and like putting like ridiculous, like, you know, the sentences into place, mixing up the words they're saying, making them do all kinds of crazy things.
What are those kind of videos again? I forgot what they're called, where they just completely mash. That's the one, yeah. You were one of them?
No, dude, I swear to you, I did YouTube poops before the name YouTube poop existed.
Oh, you're the OG YouTube pooper.
I'm not kidding you, dude. I'm not kidding you. it was in 2006. I was posting videos on YouTube. I was 12 years old. And I just posted these edits of like SpongeBob episodes, and I'd take an episode from a cartoon and just like make all this crazy stuff happen. But I would call them remakes. I got a message from this dude, and he's like, "Hey, I know you call them remakes, but they're actually called poops, YouTube poops. That is, blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Yo, who the heck do you think you are?
Who are you? Get out of here!
Heck no.
This is my
Are
shit."
you kidding me?
Amazing.
And so I looked it up, and there was like the first like 2 or 3 YouTube poops out there, which were like Legend of Zelda CDI, Hotel Mario. Like maybe one person, if we're lucky, knows what I'm talking about. But
now we're talking. Now we're talking our generation, dude. That's good. That's what I like.
The very first YouTube poops were out, and they came out more recently than the things I had made. So I swear to you, dude, I was making YouTube poops before that name existed. I may be the very first person to do that genre of video.
Have you still got them anywhere? Do you have access to them?
Oh, I'm not letting the world know, because back then a lot of things were,
Oh, I get you. I totally get you.
Acceptable that aren't anymore. So, and I was like a 13-year-old psychopath. So
it's okay. Yeah, I get it.
But no. You can't though, because all those channels, they got like copyright was a huge issue back then.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So like they would take things down. Like back then it wasn't like copyright claims where they just like take money. Back then there wasn't money on YouTube. So copyright claims, they just take the video down. And so all my channels got suspended. And it's all gone.
Damn. But, I can imagine it'd be really cool, like you privately or just with a bunch of like one friend or something, just watching it yourself and just looking back going, the fuck was I on?
I still like have them, and like I still have the same best friends that I did.
That's awesome.
Years ago, right? So we will still reference them all the time.
Amazing.
And just me and those two friends, we have this really weird, like, really good long-term memory for random things. Pretty bad short-term memory, but like that's why like I can perfectly recite SpongeBob episodes from season 2 and 3, right? Like exactly the right intonation, exactly how they say it. That's where like certain YouTube videos that I grew up with that left an impression on me, they'd get stuck in my head randomly, because there's always got to be something buzzing in my head, and they just get permanently ingrained in there. So I could like my old YouTube poops, I could literally recite them word for word for you.
Wow. We won't do that today. We won't go there. Damn.
Yeah.
You know what's funny as well? I was watching your most recent video. You have SpongeBob music in the background. I heard like little bits of SpongeBob. I was like, is that SpongeBob? It is.
Yeah, and I need to stop with it, man. I've been using the same background music for years now, and every day I'm like, okay, I need to go on to Epidemic Sound and download new background music.
Just Ed, Eddie, dude.
And so I can't help but think every time, because I do background music last, right? I go through the whole video, then I go through it again with the background music, right? And every time I'm like, oh man, I'm using the same songs. People are probably getting annoyed of this. I mean, on the plus side, I have like a whole new audience now, so they haven't had years of torture from hearing the same song.
Yeah.
But like every day, I'm like, why haven't I done this yet? Why haven't I found
Creature of comfort, my friend. Creature of comfort.
So, yeah, that SpongeBob song is my favorite song to use, because I could get really nerdy with this, honestly, but
nerd away, like, dude. It's totally fine.
It's a very minimal type song, and there's a lot of free space in the frequency range, and so it's a song that you can have in the background that will set the tone and fill in the gaps, but it won't be overbearing.
I totally understand. Yeah.
I think there's no other song that hits quite like it in the background music catalog. So that's why I like use it at some point in every video. And every time I'm like, oh, I don't want to fall back on this one, but
just have it as an Easter egg, dude. Just have it as an Easter egg. Like have normal stuff all the way through, and just last few seconds a little bit of SpongeBob, just for your own sake.
Yeah, but I need to go through and like just go on a rampage of getting new songs, because like. I can't take it much longer.
Just watch like SpongeBob back to back until you get really tired of it, like super tired of it, and go, right, no more Ed and Eddie music now.
It sets the tone so well.
Yeah, I totally get you. It's perfect.
Yeah. If any of you guys watch my videos, and it's like the song that goes wum bum 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 bum
Bum,
bum
mm,
bum bum.
mm, ba, ba, da, 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 da. Yeah.
SpongeBob
It's
song
so
that I
perfect.
can't
Uh,
stop using. Yeah, it's so good for setting the tone, but I gotta get something new.
I will put that in my streams now instead. So you can take it out of your videos, and I'm going to insert it into my streams, and it'd be
By
good.
the way, do we have any questions right now? Are we saving that just for the end,
I was
or
gonna, I was
should we?
gonna, I was gonna say, I want to go on like a little couple of minute break just so I can get a drink and go toilet. But during that time, people can ask questions in chat. People can ask questions in the Discord. What I got as well, and then we'll come back and we'll do the rest of the stream on questions. If that's okay, dude.
Cool, sounds
Sweet.
good, man.
All right. So yeah, thanks for everyone who's been here. I hope you're all enjoying episode 1. Rob, it's so cool. I just called you Rob. Robert, it's so cool to like just talk to you. Like I know we spoke messages and stuff like that, but to do long form conversation with you has really been great. It's been awesome.
Thanks. Well, it is nice when someone appreciates my ramblings, because yeah, no, genuinely, like the average human being, if I go outside and start talking to someone like this, they'll think I'm crazy.
They turn away and walk.
I appreciate having it, honestly.
It's great, dude. It's really cool. So yeah, people in chat, if you have any questions, save them until we are back. But if you want to have them in a safe place, I'll link you to Discord links, and you can put it in the podcast question thing. I just set it up just a second ago because I'm not organized. But we'll be back in like a couple of minutes.
Like chat, that's what I assumed it would be.
Yeah, Twitch chat. But there might be people who are in the Discord who can't make the Twitch chat. So I thought, if you guys can't make the stream and you want to ask questions, we might throw it off there. We'll see. We'll do Twitch chat first and then have backup Discord questions, because
Okay.
I don't know how else to do it. All right, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Cool. All right, guys.
Good.
See you in a minute. Bye. are back. You can say hello if you want to, Robert.
Hello, if you want to, Robert.
Jesus, I hate that you're good at that accent. I'm so bad at accent.
I?
Yeah. We
I guess I've just done it so much. Like, I did live in England for a little while.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is new to me.
Yeah. It was part of my YouTube chronicles, man.
Oh, really? How's that?
Yeah.
What was your experience like before we go on to everyone else's questions and stuff?
It was cool. It was cool. It was the first time I had a foreign accent, you know. So, you know, being an outsider, I suppose, was kind of interesting.
Did you have people looking at you like?
Also, it was cool. Like, really small houses, which is just interesting. Like, everything's really close together in there, which is just how it is. And then also lots of rain, but I was used to that in Vancouver because, like, same weather pattern. Seattle, Vancouver, England, a lot of the same patterns.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's cool. I really appreciate the experience, like 100%. I'm really glad I was able to do it.
That's cool, dude. I mean, I wish I could travel more, but I'm stuck in England right now, so it's just one of those things.
Hey man,
people are like,
you guys have to support Whiskey on Twitch, baby.
Yeah.
Whatever he wants.
That's right. I want to travel the world thanks to Twitch. You've been getting like a lot of love in chat. Just people saying how much they appreciate you and all that kind of stuff. Just thought I'd let you know.
Not gonna lie, my anxiety is enjoying having no idea how many people are here or seeing any chat.
Yeah, I used to do that. I've turned off like how many people watch because I used to when I'm streaming I used to constantly look, but turning it off is the best thing.
And then like inevitably it's gonna slowly go down over the course of it. So yeah, that used to. It's not good.
No, it's really helped me mentally when it comes to streams because you just be in the middle of the stream, getting the flow, look at the numbers like, shit. But
yeah. No, so I'm super happy that you can look at the chat and curate questions, and I don't have to.
You just chill, dude. I felt really bad as well because on the stream, like from this point of view, it looks like I'm looking away from you. Like so I
Cool, man. Well, you don't care about me?
Well,
you're not paying attention?
Actually, here's the thing. I'm looking directly at you. So your face is here, and I'm looking right at your face. I'm like, I want to have eye contact with the person.
Like the whole time? I haven't even noticed, dude.
I'm so glad you didn't, because I was very self-conscious about it. I was like, I really hope I'm not looking rude.
Well, is your webcam? Like, does it sit on your
webcam's
monitor?
Yeah, webcam's here.
I know where it is in that.
I'm pointing right to it. What an arsehole.
Oh!
It's right there. It's over there. But no, on my monitor, and then I have my second monitor for our conversation, basically. Anyway.
Right, if your webcam is movable, put it on whatever monitor the conversation's on.
I mean, I'm not a professional at this, you know? I could do this, but then I've got to look at the abyss behind me in the...
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I guess now it feels weird. I almost
It's too personal, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, you looking directly at me is actually... I didn't realize that I wasn't used to it.
What, eye contact? Like, direct eye contact like that?
Yeah, you know, so maybe it's healthy. I don't know.
I'm doing you a favor by making it look like I'm not looking straight at you. That's okay. We're good then.
It's like a little icebreaker.
This is just from Israel. It's not a question. I think it's just a compliment. It goes, quick love from Robert. I've been watching Matt's channel for so long, and I really need to say that the time and effort you put into the videos is really what makes them so great and funny. And you and all the other editors at High Five should get more cred for what you do. So thanks for helping me smile just with some funny shit videos. Funny shit in videos. Not funny shit videos. That's horrible. Funny shit in videos.
Sometimes they're shit, sometimes they're lit. You know, that's just how it goes. But yeah, no, I really appreciate that. No, I think the High Five community's done a really good job of appreciating everyone involved in videos. And I mean, I think, you know, when you curate a good, positive audience, that kind of happens naturally. So I do really appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, everyone on the team's really good at what they do. So it's a group effort. Thank you, though.
I was going to say this, actually. How good are you at taking compliments?
I don't know. I think I need to find this out. I haven't, like...
Are you seeking compliments in the chat now? I need to find out.
No! don't know.
I don't know. No.
Yeah, no. I no, I just haven't done. I feel like I haven't. I mean, since we've been in quarantine, I haven't had real life interactions in forever.
True, yeah.
So I can't even remember how I would take a compliment. And you know, a lot of things have changed for me since quarantine started. So like I feel like I'm a different person now. So I couldn't really answer that question.
That makes sense.
Like to feel like I'm okay at it. I think I'm good as long as it doesn't last too long. And I think a lot of people feel the same way, where it's like a quick compliment's good. I think also specific compliments, I think always do the most for people, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's like, hey, well, actually, I've learned to be better at like really taking it in when someone says like, hey, I love your videos.
Yeah.
They brighten my day. And I'm gonna try not to go on too long of a tangent here, but I think one thing that a lot of YouTubers naturally do, and anyone online, is the criticism like sticks out like a sore thumb to the point where you don't give the same value to the positivity as the negativity.
Yeah.
And there's certain YouTubers I've seen where like they'll respond to hate comments on their Twitter, and it's like, well, hey, do you do that with positive comments as well?
Absolutely.
So that's one thing I think done a really good job of now is like I give more attention to the positive things, and it's like I'll always like, you know, heart their comment and say like, hey, thanks, that means a lot, if someone like has something like that.
That's great, dude. I always say.
I'm sorry.
Say again. Sorry.
It's a long tangent.
No, you think it's a long tangent, but it really isn't. It's like a minute and that's it. So you're totally fine, dude. Don't feel like you're taking like too long. Take as long as you need. Like this is, even though like it's a podcast, like it's your podcast just as much as it's my podcast. Like I'm not just gonna sit here and that's it. Like it's
right. I just feel like it's very easy for me to, you know, take a simple question and make it the entire conversation.
I think that's okay. Like you can have a conversation for hours based off one little thing. And
with okay. Another one, Whiskey.
Whiskey. Let me have a look, because that was a question for me. This is from. Hang on a second. Let me have a look. Okay. This is from B the Rat. BEE the Rat. Not even mainly. It's directly for Robert, but number one, I was wondering if he'd ever do another acoustic cover one day. Number two, recite the first SpongeBob quote that comes to the top of your head. They are both dumb, but it's all I can come up with.
Wait, so I missed the end of it.
So, because I mumbled because I read so poorly. So the second one is recite the first SpongeBob quote that comes to mind. And we're basically saying they're both dumb questions, but it's all they can come up with. So it's sort of like, sorry for these questions, but
bracket.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, well, it was the first one that came to mind was firmly grasp it in your hand.
Firmly grasp it.
And as far as acoustic covers and whatnot, yeah. So obviously, I'm like taking a bit of a break from music, and that's just because I mean, right now I'm working 2 jobs, and so doing music on top of it is just insane. Yeah, I obviously, like, I'm not permanently stopping making music, and so when I do, again, there will be acoustic stuff, but may not be on my channel, just because it's what I talked about. Did I just talk about it with you, or did I talk about this on stream? Oh, right, I did talk about it on stream. Yeah, like, sticking to one thing is kind of what...
Sure. Yeah, what you did say on stream.
Is what you kind of need to do. So maybe eventually, like, I'll only be able to do it when I have the freedom where I don't feel like it's taking away from my ability to do the rest of my stuff. And right now there's no way I could, because like literally doing anything other than my work like takes up my brain capacity, because I just have to be working so much in order to meet my goals right now.
What do you do for as a mental and maybe physical like break from it all? Because I remember I'm before I was like thinking about what to ask you and all that kind of stuff, I remember going back to VidCon, and we had this like big meeting thing where we were just watching not a show, like a Q&A, and with these TikTokers who are really, really successful. And I think it was like 3 of them. 2 of them were the face of it, and one was the editor. And I remember looking at the editor, and comparison to the actual face of them, the editor was pale. He looked tired all the time, bags under his eyes, and he was probably still a teenager. And I remember just looking, going, that doesn't look healthy. I could be wrong, but is there anything you do, or you just stick to it, or do you do anything regarding health or fitness, or what do you do to get out of it? Or
yeah, well, I'm obsessed with physical health. I have been for a while now, and so it's always been like a major priority to stay on top of it. But yeah, I think honestly, recently getting my rats has been a good
they are cute.
de-stressor.
Yeah.
I guess they're sleeping right now. But like just hanging out with them a little bit is really nice, because I mean the only time I use my phone when I'm with them is when I'm recording them.
I get it. Yeah, you're a rat dad.
I missed something last night where the boys were on my couch and the cage was like attached to the couch. It was like connected. And Rocco like went and grabbed a full-sized flyer, like newspaper flyer, and dragged it into the cage and like the stairs for like building, right? And it was like literally 10 times bigger than him. And I wish I recorded it, but I missed
cute.
It. Anyways, that's great because it's a complete disconnection from the work. That's why like if you do a job like being on social media or YouTube or all that stuff, like you want to make sure your relaxing time doesn't involve that. Unless you can really mentally separate it. Like nowadays, like the only YouTube I really watch is YouTube that's like really separate from what I do. So like I watch UFC.
You're the only person like I'm friends with as a content creator who actually likes UFC. So so on Twitter I'm like, great fight, but no one else cares. So
dude, I did the same thing.
Robert, help.
In 2017, 2016, I would tweet anytime there's a major UFC. Like I could not help. I had to tweet things.
Yeah.
No one knew what the heck I was
No one knows. It's so like frustrating because I'm like, I have like Emily. She's not a fan of UFC. Actually, she did watch a few fights, but she's not the one I'd go speak to about it. Like, oh, do you know this person's fighting? It's like I have no outlet because none of my friends, all my friends are into football or soccer, and I could not
You say soccer?
I'm saying soccer just to so there's no confusion. Yeah. I'm trying to help, but like, I just find it so boring compared to UFC. So
yeah,
that's what I want to speak about. Like a little tiny bit was when we first started talking. We started talking because of UFC. We started talking about the fights, and that's how like we started properly going back and forth and everything like that. So yeah, it's weird. It's I don't know what the hell. Where did this come from? Where did this conversation come from? De-stressing, yeah.
De-stresses, watch people,
beat each other up.
Kill each other.
That's right. In a very professional environment.
Controlled environment,
Controlled environment.
Yeah. But no. So yeah, most of I make sure I go for a walk every day.
Yeah.
Just because if you're in quarantine all the time, and you need to move your body at some point. But yeah, I guess mostly hanging out with my rats. And yeah, there's not too much to do, so I kind of have to watch some TV. But yeah, I'll watch UFC, play some games. That's pretty much all I can really do, honestly. Like if I, was able to like hang out with more friends here, then like probably that would broaden a little bit. But yeah.
Our dog Finn, he's the reason why I get out of the house as well, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't think about going for a walk for the sake of going for a walk, but because Finn's there, I'm like, oh, I need to take him for a walk. And then while I'm walking, I listen to podcasts or audiobooks or just music, and it's nothing. And it's nice. It's really nice. But yeah, same for your rats. Like, they're the reason why you can unwind. And I think that's really important. Yeah. That's why we're therapeutic in the end.
Podcasts are, well, it's kind of funny. I didn't even think about it considering we're on one, but podcasts are like how I unwind at the very end of the day. Like when a lot of the time I finish a video at like 12:30 or 1 a.m. Regardless, as soon as I'm done, I put a podcast on, and that's when I get ready for bed. I leave it on a bit when I'm in bed, which is kind of a bad habit because I should just be reading or sleeping. But
Mhm.
that is like my big thing to unwind. I have like 3 or 4 different podcasts for like different. Did I talk to you about this?
Oh, we only spoke about Joe Rogan, but apart
Okay.
from that, no.
I've got like 4 different podcasts that I use for different circumstances.
Yeah,
So
sure.
like the podcast I go to sleep to is like a very free flowing, like a group of like 5 guys who have known each other for 20 years.
You can drop the name
Um,
if you want to, by the way. It's totally cool.
yeah, well, obviously,
Ah, wait.
yeah, okay. Mega 64.
Wait, Robert,
What did you say? Don't have.
Robert. You desynced again. Jump back in. It happens like every something hour. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Yo,
There we go. We're good.
did you say that I can say the name if I want?
Yeah,
to?
of course you can. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm saying like you're totally
Right,
cool
no, I
saying it if you want to.
figured. Okay. But yeah, I mean, Mega 64. I've been watching them since I was literally 13.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's such a chill one. So like that's the type of podcast I listen to when I'm getting ready for bed. If it's something I need to pay more attention to, that's more like midday.
Same here, yeah.
Sometimes morning, like and with the morning, I don't want it to be too noisy, so it's like something more chill, like something like this would literally be perfect for like a morning podcast. That's why, like, when I was doing my podcast, I would always tell people like, "Yo, fold your laundry to this. Do something like casual to this," and
I like
it's
that.
so much better. That's like how I unwind.
Yeah.
I feel like we should get back to questions, or else we'll never like.
We'll never get through them. Yeah, sure. So it kind of links into what you were talking about anyway. This is from Nightmare Wolf 133. They've done fan art for you before, if
yeah.
and also they donated to charity as well. So thank you so much for the donation. That's really cool. They just ask, how are you dealing with quarantine? Are you really busy or are you just vibing?
Yeah. I've done a bit of both. I would say busy. I think being busy is the only. If you're by yourself in quarantine, which I have been, being busy is like the only way to handle it, honestly.
Yeah.
Because if you're just left sitting by yourself, it's gonna be a rough time.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I just work as much as I can, but like I do go through phases of playing video games and stuff. Like last month, I played through all the Uncharted games and all the Last of Us games, and just wonderful experience.
I've not played any of the Uncharted games. Never.
You played Last of Us though?
Played Last of Us 1, loved it. Playing Last of Us 2. But Uncharted, not touched.
What do you mean playing Last of Us?
As in,
2?
I played it for an hour and I've stopped playing. Like we were talking about a while ago. As in, starting something then just not continuing. I've done that with Last of Us 2.
Last of Us 2, I don't know if there's any haters in the chat for Last of Us 2. That may be the greatest video game I've ever played.
Really?
It's unbelievably well presented. If you have a problem with the story, what they did with it, that's fine. Whatever complaints you have, but you can't take away the fact that that game, the fluidity of it and the graphics of it, it feels more like you're actually playing as the character than, to me, any game I've ever played. It's masterfully done. They did an unbelievable job, and it's so funny to me that it's coming out at the end of the PS4 era, because I feel like no PS5 game is going to be as good as Last of Us 2 for like 2 years.
Ooh, I get that.
Yeah. So I thought that game was incredible, and yeah, if you have an open mind about the plot line and you don't have a major attachment or feel like it has to go a certain way, it's a crazy wild ride, and yeah, I love it. So anyways,
I'll be playing that tomorrow. Do you want to date?
Do it.
So this
Crazy.
This is from Seru Hio. Actually, links in quite nice. Question for both of us. What was the first video game you played, or the last one you played? So the very first video game you can remember playing, and the most recent video game you've played.
Yeah, I think the first game I ever played was Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yes.
I remember being literally 2 years old and like going to my brother and like asking him to turn on the game. I don't know how I actually conveyed it to him because I didn't speak proper sentences at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is the first game I ever remember playing. And honestly, I think besides that, Super Mario Brothers 1, like the very first one. And it's not that I was
Game Boy?
born when those came out. No. Nintendo Entertainment System.
Oh God, I always have these images
Yeah.
of playing Mario on Game Boy. Just thinking.
Oh my gosh, you didn't grow up with Nintendo, man.
I'm trying to think.
I was a Nintendo boy for a long time, man.
I think I was. Yeah, I must have been because I played Super Mario Bros. 3, the one with the.
Oh, really? On the
Yeah, that's SNES, right? NES or SNES, I can't remember, but I grew up on some of them, I guess. I don't know. It's that long ago, dude. Like
I know.
I'm almost 30.
No, to be fair, like I said, like my long-term memory has no business being as good as it is. So like I don't forget any of that stuff.
I'm trying to think of the first video game I played. Like I go, man, I don't know because I have memories of PlayStation 1 games, but then I do not remember where. I'm not sure. The biggest one I remember playing because I loved it was Tombi or Tomba. Don't know if you remember that one at all. It was by the animation was by the same person as Dragon Ball Z, Akira Toriyama, I think. And basically you attack pigs. You had pink hair, you attack pigs. I thought it was the best game ever.
Or is it? Wait, Tomba? Is that what you said?
Tomba. In England, it was Tom B. In America, it was Tomba. People in chat might know. In fact, no. People in chat might not know because of how old it is. But it was one of those.
I know. I think I know this game, and the reason I think oh, is it the game I think it is? Wait, I have to do a second.
Do you think? It's totally fine. Welcome to Nostalgia.
Yes! It was Tomba 2.
Oh, Tomba 2.
Well, no. I'm not saying that's what you played, but there's just a viral clip from the Awesome Games Done Quick event.
I love. It's on right now downstairs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's on, dude. They're doing it online.
Oh my gosh, I didn't do that at all. Anyways, in 2014, someone was playing through Tomba 2, and there's a viral clip of this guy who was like kept interrupting, like he was literally like friends with the guy, but he just kept
he didn't get invited to the couch. He just joined the couch. Yeah, I remember that video because it was really awkward. PewDiePie did a reaction video to it, obviously, but yeah.
So that's how I know Tom.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. What was the last game you played then? The most recent? Was it just The Last of Us 2?
Last of Us 2.
Fall Guys for me. I'm obsessed.
Oh, I did. Okay, okay, if we're talking like booted up, then like yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5 I just started, and then Fall Guys as well. But like actually played through and whatnot, Last of Us 2 for sure.
So strong, so good. I need to play Metal Gear as well. It's another series I've not touched ever. So...
Yeah, same. I need to do better with that. It's all
I need to do better.
Yeah,
you got something to prove.
Guys, I'm sorry. I
this
need
is a message to the community.
I have not played enough Metal Gear Solid. I need to be better.
Dude, make an apology video, and right at the end, it's just talking about not playing Metal Gear Solid. Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. They're all on PlayStation now, though, so you can
Just a hard commitment. Like that's the thing. If I go in, it's a big commitment. I'm like, I don't know if I could do that.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm not doing it for now. I'm not doing it until I'm only working on one channel. Like for as long as I'm doing 2 channels right now, like no, I can't do Metal Gear. But yeah,
that's cool, dude.
I will make that transition.
Mr. Camilla says, this is a random question: toilet paper. Are you an over person or are you an under person?
I'm mostly.
Oh, what? Why have you got tissue paper?
You got to do it over. Actually, I don't even know why. It's kind of an arbitrary thing. People have decided over makes more sense, and I've just always done it like that. I do this because I blow my nose a lot.
Okay. All right.
I'm very like, no, I'm very much. I'm wiping at my desk. I'm very much like against using too much, paper towel, whatever. And so like having a Kleenex or whatever, I feel like is unnecessary. So I use whatever's the smallest. I'm like super like strict about like my environmental, like how much waste I have. So
that's fascinating.
It is kind of weird having toilet paper on my desk at all times. Like people have definitely asked me, but it's like, yeah, that's why.
It's just the fact that out of a random question from Mr. Clear, you went, oh yeah, and just grabbed it out of nowhere. It's like, oh, cool, all right.
It's a very important thing for people these days, you know?
Yeah, it's true. It was important. Maybe you got it all.
Psychopaths thought they would run out of 48 rolls over the course of 2 months, but clearly they're using too much.
This is why I feel like humanity would just be fucked in a zombie apocalypse, because we'd just be so selfish.
Exactly.
We'd be ruined. Yeah. It's a good test run of what we'd be like in an actual... Well, it is a pandemic.
That's how I felt about... this is going to be kind of edgy, but it's okay. That's how I felt. The people who are complaining about Last of Us 2 and feeling betrayed and all that, those are the first people who would die. People who complain about something so silly like that are the people who wouldn't be able to handle the apocalypse.
Their priorities are not really there. I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, people just got so like, yeah. It's like, no, you got to realize, like, developers make the game they want to make. People make what they... It's not our decision. Same thing with the Game of Thrones ending. Like, I understand, like, people were watching the show for many years, so it's like, I understand disappointment, but, like, unless something was poorly executed, which there's an argument for Game of Thrones, you can't say that it's bad because you don't like what they decided to do. Last of Us 2, I think, is presented unbelievably well. Like, the people's issue with it is the story they decided to tell, not how they executed. They'll try to tell you it's how they executed it, but it's not legitimate. Anyways, I'm not trying to get on the Last of Us 2 high horse again,
you are really selling it right now. This is not a sponsored podcast, but it sounds like it, doesn't it?
So good. And no, here's why I was so passionate about it. It's just because so many people worked so hard on the game, and like the people who are hating on the game are completely disregarding like how that makes all of these random graphic artists.
Totally.
All these people who had no say in how the game went, you know? And so like, I think there's this culture of just like dogpiling on things online. And it's like, it's fine to not like something, but like when you just like try to hurt everyone remotely involved, it's terrible. And so when I'm defensive of something like that, it's because I feel for all these like people who were like, they were level designers, they were marketing teams or whatever. They like didn't have any role in that, but you still want them to suffer, and it's like, that's just not cool.
It's because you're a good human being, Robert, and that's it. Like you're able to empathize. I
feel like no one is, dude. It's crazy.
I totally get it. It's the idea of like they feel like they can control something because they have a say, or they feel like they have a say. Or with Game of Thrones, I personally didn't like the ending. Okay, that's fine.
Totally get it.
But I didn't sign a petition, so they have to redo it because I know that's bullshit. It's like, we don't give a shit. Like, who cares?
I in terms of like how they executed it, I see the argument for like it being rushed. It definitely like those events in the last season could have taken place over like 2 seasons for sure. So I totally get it felt rushed, but as far as like the quality of it, like how cinematic it is and how like impressive it is to look at, it's like it's just as good, if not better, than all the other seasons. Like, so they executed it, I think, just as well. It's just the story and how quickly they told it kind of was
unfortunately. But I like what you said.
I totally get that. But all the other people who worked on the show who didn't decide on the story, like they worked their asses off and they deserve so much credit.
Hours and hours.
When you just like, you know, pile on like everyone involved with this thing, I think that's lame.
I could not agree more, dude. I could not agree more. This is from Nat. Nada is salty. Favorite thing / quirk about your pet. We'll do this one quick, actually. We'll do a quick fire round for this one. So yeah, favorite thing or quirk about your pet. Sir.
There's different. My 2 rats are so different. Like, rats have so much personality. Oh, they definitely do weird stuff. Well, I think Rocco, you know, picking up giant pieces of paper and dragging them into his cage is pretty ridiculous, because Nobu doesn't do that, but Rocco does that. So there you go.
Nice. Finn likes fighting me as we go upstairs. Every time we go to bed, we go upstairs and he's bite, and he just wants to fight all the time, and it's super cute.
He knows, man. He knows you're great at fighting, man.
That's right.
You know, I thought you were reading a username. I thought there's like Finn like fighting. So
I'm that good at streaming. It's just seamless. You don't know between me reading chat and conversation. Emily doesn't like getting bit. I don't like getting bit by Finn, but it's a quirk of his. Like he's a dick for it, but I kind of like it. I shouldn't like it. I should be telling him to stop. I'm like, yeah, go on, boy.
Yeah, well, it's only like a danger if there's other people. Like, if you're
absolutely
strangers, you need to make sure. But if like, you gotta let animals be animals to some extent, you know.
Exactly. This is from Milan Winchester. A question for Robert: if you wanted to redo one of your parody songs, what would it be and why?
Wow, that's an awesome question. Redo them. I think they're fine in terms of like I don't know if you're talking about like lyrics and like what it's about and all that, or just the execution. If there's something I wish I could have redone, I'm definitely better at making music now. So from like a technical perspective, I could definitely do it better. Which one kind of makes me cringe the most now? I think the best ones were the ones that were more specific about specific YouTubers. But like I've privated the Starboy parody, the fanboy one, because I think like it plays a bit too much into like the fanboy persona that I had, and like I don't know, some of them feel more like a funny parody, and some of them feel more like overly passionate about, you know, something a bit too silly. So I think the ones that are more about me, I would redo or not do.
Are there any ones what you just like you just said, like completely regret doing?
No. I don't completely regret any of them. I mean, nowadays, now that I'm just doing my own thing, it feels weird that like I based so much of my content on like other YouTubers. It feels a bit weird now. Like I don't think they represent me anymore. But in terms of like regretting, or like even like a few months later being like, oh yeah, that wasn't very good, no, I have no complaints. Like I spent so long on each of them, like I had ample time to be like, this is a bad idea if I didn't think it was good. So yeah, so I like them all. But again, it's like that was like a different like kind of version of me in a different headspace I was in, you know.
It's interesting to reflect back and to see where you came from. I think it's nice to do, but
And I feel like I had a very unorthodox progression.
But that's what's great about it, though, dude. Like, it's unique, and it's unique for you, you know, and that's what's all about. It's special for you. Another question from Seti Heel. If you could have any kind of house anywhere in the world, rent-free, where would you live?
Okay. Are we gonna add the condition that you can't leave, or?
Sure. Why not?
No, because I've thought about this a lot lately. Because not that I completely have that option, but like I have a bit of freedom with it. Man, I think Canada's like the best country.
I'd love to go to Canada.
Aside from Canada, I've thought about New Zealand a lot recently because that place is beautiful. I love Australia too, except the bugs. I hate bugs, and
Do you really?
I don't think I could handle that part of Australia. So unless I lived like in the city on like an upper floor where there's less bugs. But yeah, Canada and New Zealand, I think, are like the two places that speak to me the most, because it's like they're very developed, but they're very, I don't want to say they're very chill, because a lot of Canada isn't chill, but like it feels very wholesome. You know?
I get that. I mean, Sad Mantha basically just asked, what do you miss about Canada the most?
Well, right now a lot, because they've done a lot better at you know, social distancing and making sure the numbers don't go too high. So right now I miss Canada a lot, because in LA people are not doing that.
Yeah.
And so I'll be stuck inside for a long time because of those people. But the air was fresher where I lived in Canada. That depends on where you live in the States, though. Like, obviously, like, LA is the desert, so there's not that many trees, and there's a lot of city. So the air just doesn't feel quite as nice as it did over there. Aside from that, I don't miss the cold. I'll tell you that. Like this last winter was the first winter I had where I didn't have to wear a winter coat and
Lucky
all
bastard.
that. So it's pretty nice. But yeah, no, Canada, there's something a bit more like relaxed and like, I don't want to say pure, but just like, at least where I've lived, it's like a bit more low key, and not as hectic. But also, I live in like one of the most hectic places in the world, so.
So you want like the complete opposite effect to it, or?
Not the complete opposite, but like just like I don't know, the chillness
I
to
get
an
it, dude.
extent.
I get it.
It's the same reason why I'm happy to not have a super crazy social media following now. It's like, yeah, this is cool, but like, it's better to have things go at a medium pace.
You don't have
That's
to hold on and keep pushing it, and just it is what it is. It's basically it is what it is approach to social media. Like, yeah, you post something. People like it, they like it. If you don't, you don't. That's it.
Yeah.
Damn. Very nice. We have a few more questions, and then we'll finish off, my dude, if that's okay. We're getting close to the top of the hour. Israel Space Girl goes, any advice you would have loved to have got when you first started editing?
Editing?
Yeah.
Well, I was 12 when I first started editing, so it's like I didn't know anything. And at that point, it was so experimental that like I just like messed around. I just threw things at it. So when it comes to when I first started when I was 12, it's better. It would be better for me to have given actual life advice to that, Robert, than just like, hey, here's how you edit better.
Yeah.
Because like I just was a mental like complete just like ball of static energy, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So when it comes to like editing for YouTube though, or for like my type of stuff on YouTube, it would have been better for me to have realized that my strengths lie in the creative portion and not the cutting portion. I would have saved myself a lot of time if I had like got someone else to help me do the cutting. I feel like I had a bit too much pride, and like felt like I had to do everything. But if I had done that, I would have gotten videos out at least twice as fast. So that would have changed a lot of things. So that's probably the advice is realize like figure out what you're good at and what you're slow at, and you have to focus on the strengths.
That's good though, dude. Like, again, you might have had to go through that to be where you are now. So
Sure.
it's
Absolutely.
not a case of like beating yourself up for that. It's like, yeah, we're here now. And I feel like for me personally, when it comes to learning and making mistakes or just things I could have done better, I don't really dwell on it. I don't think I've ever dwelled on much things what I've done in the past because I'm here now, so who cares? Like, I'll learn from it and that's it and move on. I think that's what I do at least. I don't know if it's the right thing or anything like that, but yeah, I don't know. It just helps me out a tiny bit. Nightmare Wolf, do you think you'd get back to the What Am I Doing podcast?
One day that would be cool. I mean, right now, it's like I get way more out of focusing my time on my YouTube channel. And so I will like, yeah, right now I'm literally too busy to do anything other than the two things I'm doing. But yeah, it would depend. It would depend how many people are interested. And that's just kind of the reality of being a content creator is like you do have to focus your time on what will push you forward. Unless, your side project is something you can do really quickly, which maybe it will be something I can work in because yeah, realistically it didn't take that much. But I guess for me also, I think it's also an anxiety thing where like knowing I have this other thing to do, it takes a lot more stress even just thinking about leading up to it than just doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like even though it only takes like a couple hours of the week for me to do the podcast, it takes up a chunk of my mental space knowing that I have to do it.
I highly feel that because even though we spoke about we spoke and all that kind of stuff leading up to today, I was like, oh shit, oh yeah, we're doing this, and I had the anxiety build up and everything like that. So before you called, I had to sit here and just be like, just breathe, and I almost had to do USA, like USA kind of stuff beforehand,
What the
because
heck is USA?
you never watched Bad Boys?
Oh, United States USA, United States of America.
USA, but no, not United States of America. I don't think. Is it in Bad Boys? It says that. I
No,
thought.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
There's actually a Fairly. Do you know Fairly Odd
of
Parents?
course I do.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but
No, it's fine.
at the beginning of an episode, Timmy's like, "Where's America on this map? All I can see is USA."
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, I fucking hell. That's such a great show. And they brought it back and stuff. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I had to just focus on breathing, just to relax. Like, as soon as you called up and we started talking, it was fine. But again, the build up.
I'm the exact same way, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I've performed music live a bunch of times, and it's freaking terrifying before you go up. But as soon as I start, it's like I just go into the mode. Like I'm here, you know.
It's kind of interesting when it comes to that kind of thing. We're gonna do 2 more questions.
Sure. I mean, I have a few extra minutes, you know. Just
sure.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes. One's from Mistake Bunny and one's from Israel again. So Mistake Bunny goes, what advice would you give for going through mental health issues like depression? You can use your, I don't know obviously what you went through, but you can use your own examples if you want to, because obviously we can't give like full-on advice because we're not trained or qualified. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Is that a disclaimer that people have to do? It's like
I just like doing it now because some people.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. That makes sense. But I mean, at the same time, like I have certain frustrations because we don't teach like a lot of real genuine things that can help people. And that's kind of a thing that's starting to come up where it's like people talk about medication before they talk about like eating the right foods and exercising and getting sunlight and like breathing and all that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So anyways, yeah, I obviously that's a really broad question, but I do think a lot of mental health kind of issues go hand in hand with one another. And yeah, I think the first step, the first line of defense should always be physical health, you know? First thing, like I always say, yo, drink more water. I literally always tell my viewers like, hey, drink more water. And thankfully I've had a lot of people say like, yeah, true, I started doing that and it's a lot better. That's such a simple thing that makes such a huge difference. But we don't teach that. We don't teach that like eating the right foods helps your mental health. We just are like, oh, you know, you'll get fat if you eat bad. Like that's all that people focus on.
Yeah.
But there's so many things that, you know, your body benefits from and your mind benefits from. It all goes hand in hand. So like that's the thing is like yeah, if you don't do any kind of exercise, if you don't ever like get your heart rate up, like it's not good. And I know during the quarantine it's super hard. Like I've had to take significant breaks from that, but even just like jumping jacks and stuff, things like that like are it's surprising how much of an impact just getting that bit of exercise can have on your mental health.
Huge.
So first thing I always say is you know, work on your physical health first, and then maybe a lot of those issues will maybe not solve themselves but significantly improve. And that's why like for me the last thing I did was see professional help, which is not necessarily the order everyone should go in, because there are people who, you know, maybe are a danger to themselves or like
absolutely.
are really feel in over their head. But for me, it was like figure everything that I can personally do out, and then do that. But anyways, yeah, physical health was always first, and then realizing what is kind of a struggle for you. Like for me, like social media and like constantly stimulating myself with, you know, looking at my phone, I realized that was a huge thing that, you know, really triggered my ADD and stopped me from being able to like think about other things and focus on other things. So that was like a big trigger for me. But even for anyone, man, like being on your screen too much is gonna have a negative mental health effect, and like it'll affect certain people more than others. But yeah, I really think it just comes down to like healthy habits and like all that stuff. And then from that point, that's when you can work on like developing a positive attitude and whatnot. Because if you don't have a good base of like, you know, I'm treating my body really poorly, you know, I'm tired all the time, trying to make a positive mental attitude out of that is way harder.
So difficult.
So yeah, that's kind of my thing, my kind of gym teacher, you know.
But it's true. It's relevant.
Pitch, but...
It's I'm the exact same way, dude. Like if I ever go through a depressive moment or depressive stage in my life, or it's a day or a week, if it's a day where I'm just not feeling it, I kind of have like a mental checklist what I go through. So I ask myself, am I hydrated? Have I drank enough water? And I sort of I work down the list. And so my list is usually, what have I eaten? Because sometimes if it's a case of I haven't eaten, well, I intermittent fast because it really helps me, but it benefits me personally. Not saying it benefits everyone, but for me it does. But I go, am I hydrated? Have I been eating healthy? Have I exercised? Have I meditated? And I just go through a quick checklist. And then once I go through that, I go, okay, well, what's going on then? And that's when I start asking myself questions first. And that's always been my go-to regime, you know, because one thing I obviously I still think like people should be safe and everything, but I really miss the gym because like lifting weights for me, like deadlifting or going into like lifting heavy, using energy and everything like that. Once I've gone to my gym, been to the sauna, stretched, breathed, got into the car, I'm completely chill. Like on the way to the gym, if I'm driving, I get pissed off with everyone. Like someone cuts me up, I'm like, fuck you, and it's all this kind of thing. But after the gym and I drive home, I don't care. So oh yeah, cool, fine, no worries, dude.
I know. Yeah, and this honestly, this isn't a fun answer, really.
No, it's not.
For people who like, you know, aren't used to exercising or anything like this, it sounds like just a couple of bros talking. It sounds like a couple of Joe here.
Yeah, it's totally.
Trust me, I am the biggest nerd in the world, and until I was 18, I played sports because my dad forced me to. Essentially,
sure.
I'd play like a hockey game every week or whatever, but I didn't exercise properly until I was like 18. And then from that point on, like I realized how important it was. And that's why I say like we talked to 12-year-old Robert, like there's so much life advice of like, you know, getting my shit together. Because like, yeah, I wasn't taking care of myself at all. So every issue I had mentally was so much worse. Because like, yeah, our bodies, like this again, gonna get super nerdy, but like, you know, you do kind of have to think about like before, like humans created technology, right? We didn't have social media, phones, whatever. We weren't biologically designed to do all that stuff. We were biologically designed to walk around all day. And so deviating from that, it can be dangerous as far as like it's gonna throw your brain off balance a little bit.
Absolutely.
Right? And so you kind of do have to think about that. It's like we are doing things that humans aren't meant to do, and as a result, just by itself, like we're taking away from what we're kind of supposed to do to be happy and healthy.
Yeah.
So anyways, kind of going Joe Rogan a little bit, but
the thing is, it's bro science, but for us, it makes sense. It works for us. I mean, one more thing I needed to add on to that list. Sorry, did I sleep properly? Because sleep is actually number one on the list. Like, if I wake up and I'm depressed, it's like, okay, did I have sleep? Did I have a good sleep? What was my sleep like? I don't analyze it. I should, because it'd be interesting, but like sleep is so important. I always hated that phrase "sleep is for the weak," because it's like, dude, I'm like, dude, you have to understand this. Lack of sleep makes you weak. Like if you don't sleep, you're fucked. And
in every way,
in every way. So yeah.
No, when I used to have like a lot of like, I used to have anxiety that was a lot worse, and like a lot of like symptoms of that, like irritable bowels and all that stuff.
Sure.
And like 100%, that's 10 times worse when I've gotten 6 hours of sleep instead of 8.
Yeah.
You know, like yeah, that alone makes such a huge difference. Yeah, so if we want to talk about like the most baseline thing that people can do to feel better if they aren't doing it, is like drinking a lot of water and making sure you're sleeping at a good time and sleeping long enough. Like those are the two fundamental things that everyone needs to do, and if everyone doesn't do it, they're not going to feel themselves.
I feel like because people panic and they feel like I shouldn't be depressed, I shouldn't feel sad. They want a quick fix because I shouldn't be like this. But it's like, okay, just that's fine, but just relax for a second and try and figure out what have you done. That's why I go for a checklist, because it takes me from an emotional state to a logical state. Because if I'm emotional, I can't make those decisions properly. I go into these irrational thinking of just I start spiraling. So that's why I sort of go. It's a way of controlling it, and then I can gain again control of everything what's going on right now. But yeah, it's a important question. I'm glad Mistake Bunny actually brought it up, because I was going to bring it up anyway, but I think it's one of the things that it should always be brought up. And like we said right at the beginning of the podcast, sometimes you need to hear it from someone else, not a doctor, not a
right. Well, because that's why like it's the same thing that a lot of parents will say, like, hey, go outside, or hey, eat your vegetables, or whatever.
Oh, he's just tired.
Yeah, in that circumstance, it just sounds annoying.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't even realize like the actual, full extent of the benefits of that. So yeah, no, I get that. Yeah.
It's just interesting. It's really interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Isra, a question goes, let's get a bit real. How have you guys really been feeling mentally?
Yo, we've gotten real.
Yeah, we got real today.
Yeah. You want to go first?
Yeah. Me personally, like, the beginning of quarantine was a huge struggle. Like my thing was, because my business is a face-to-face business, because I'm teaching. I've been really struggling with like keeping people involved and making sure people don't quit, because I've been doing Zoom classes and stuff, and I teach a lot of kids who have ADD, ADHD, autism, and when it comes to those kind of things, change, a minor change, well, this is a huge change of routine, completely breaks the child, bless them. So to be able to try and communicate with them has always been a struggle through Zoom. It's really difficult to teach. So for me, it's like trying to balance out my school and survive through that. And I've got the stress of finances and everything like that. That's my biggest concern. Me mentally, I've always been the person who's kind of, I don't seclude myself, but if I'm in a social environment, I'm fine talking to people, but I don't. If we have to go, I'd rather not. I'd rather just be like at home with my dog, with Emily, just chilling. That's me. Whereas Emily likes going out a bit more and goes to her friends. And I'm kind of like, I don't want to do that. I just want to chill. So regarding the quarantine stuff, I've been okay with the quarantine personally. It's more of the side effects of the quarantine regarding my school and finances. During the quarantine, me and Emily moved into a new place, and then thank you. But obviously bills went high. We had to, so it's all those added little stresses. It's the adulting side of it all what's stressing me out more than anything. I know, being an adult.
Best word ever. I love when people say adulting.
Yeah, it's great. It's a fantastic word. What about you? What about you?
Recently, very good. Yeah. I honestly, I definitely still am going through phases of like, ugh, this sucks, but like quarantine, I'm definitely used to it now, as much as it sucks to be used to it. But yeah, no, the first month or so, was brutal, and that's what led me to buy my boys here, which I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gone through a lot of phases, and it's good in the sense that it really did force me to figure a lot of things out. And that's, I kind of say that about struggles in general, is like, for me personally, like going through rough times is what's forced me to figure out things and practices and ways of life that stick with me forever, and I wouldn't have figured out otherwise. So anyways, by this point in quarantine, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are going well. I'm super busy, obviously. Would like to not be as busy, but yeah, I've been good.
I mean, thank you for making the time for this podcast, then, dude. Considering like a podcast is a few hours, you know, we're not going to go much longer, but
yeah, but I can talk forever. That's the issue.
we
like,
both can.
I put off my work so often by just talking to people for too long because like I'm terrible at ending conversations.
Yeah.
Because I just want to keep going.
Because you can, especially if it's going into something what you're both passionate about. Like we could go on and on and on and on and on. It's just one of those things, I guess. It's the curse of being not a social butterfly, but a good fucking talker. Like you can just keep going and add things on. Everything else regarding questions is most people are just saying how nice you are. People are going, "Oh, Robert's really great," and it's just like quickly before I need to go to bed. You guys are freaking awesome. Hope you have a good rest of the night.
You too. Good night.
Miss Bunny has just been saying thanks for obviously talking about the mental health issues and stuff like that. They also donated to the charity, so thank you very much for that. And Pell Mell donated.
Thank you very much.
And Pell Mell donated too.
Thank you.
I'm gonna try and soundbite that. I'm gonna have that every time now, just to say.
Okay.
I'm gonna clip it. I hope you don't mind.
I'm sure that sounds really great.
Oh, it sounded so good. It sounded so good. Yeah, I think, dude, we will bring the podcast to a close. Is there anything else you want to tell anyone? Anything you want to say? Anything really?
Hey, watch my videos if you want. If you hate them, then don't watch them. If you like them, then hey, I just introduced you to a good channel. I don't really have anything, man. Rats make great pets. If you want to get a rat, though, always get more than one because they're social creatures and they need companionship because they're very smart. They're like little dogs. Take care of yourselves. Try and yeah, if something's getting you down, maybe you got to take a step back. Take a step back from social media, whatever you think is bumming you out, whatever's bringing your energy down, yeah, I don't know, man. That's all I got.
It's perfect. It's great, dude. Just want to say thank you, Ben, for being my first guest on the You Are Enough podcast. It's been really...
It's been fun, dude. I enjoy it.
Really appreciate it, and we'll make sure we hang out a bit more after this. I don't want to be like, thanks, see ya. That's it.
Yeah.
Probably the most dickish thing I've ever done in my life. But yeah, it's been...
Good thing you're not doing it.
Exactly. But yeah, seriously, dude, thank you so much. It's been wonderful. And yeah, that's it. Then we just got to awkwardly say bye, I guess. I don't know what else we've got to do. So peace.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye.